We're hearing a lot of debate about what to do about when and how students will return to classes this fall. But a more pressing matter may well be the fact that kids could be falling further behind in their education this summer because of the extra months they've had to spend at home. A new report found students this year might retain only about 70% of their reading progress compared to a normal year and only about half of their math progress. So how can parents help their kids make up the difference? Joining us now via Skype, Mashea Ashton. She is founder and CEO of Digital Pioneers Academy, which is in Southeast D.C. It's great to have you with us, and I cannot think, frankly, of a more timely subject for parents right now, because I'm sure what we're seeing here on this extended period away from class is, no matter how hard you try, it's just not the same as being in that school situation, and kids aren't holding on to what they've already learned.
Well, Dave, thank you for having me. You're absolutely right. There's always been summer learning loss, but even now, as the city and the country has been adjusting to schooling remotely, there are increased learning loss, but particularly for our students and families who have the least amount of resources. So I do think, well, there's an education gap, there's a learning gap that happens in the summer. We have got to close the digital gap as we navigate what schooling looks like in the short term.
This is something that exists. It's very real for a lot of people. For other people, it's sort of an abstract thing. Well, everybody has a laptop or high-speed internet. Well, that certainly isn't the case. And even if you do, the access to it and the ability to have enough of those tools for everybody involved is a very real problem, and I'm not exactly sure how in the short term we deal with it. Are there suggestions?
Well, absolutely. The digital gap is real, and in Washington, D.C. and across the country. We worked very hard this past spring to make sure that 100% of our scholars had technology and 95% had reliable Wi-Fi. It is going to take the whole city coming together. It's going to take Congress. It's going to take the city council to pass budget. It's going to take philanthropy to make sure that every scholar in the city has a device and has the Wi-Fi to stay connected to their teachers. And that is what's going to actually close the gap. Being connected to your teacher, whether it's through a live Zoom teaching lessons or having a regular touch point, is essential to making sure the gap doesn't widen.
This hits close to home. My youngest son is a teacher, and he's been trying as hard as he can to provide stuff online. But you talk to him, and he tells me, I know there are kids out there who just don't have the resources to get what I'm trying to help them with through the summer. So it's a very frustrating thing. I understand that. There's something called the National Summer School Initiative that was sort of a big picture look, and throughout the month of July, they think they're reaching 12,000 students. Well, that's great. But that's only scratching the surface, isn't it? This is something that we need to think of. When we come out on the other side of this thing, we really need to focus on this as an issue, because it's not just in the time of COVID. This is something that we face, it seems, every year during the summer.
Yes, and we were fortunate enough to also participate in an SSI this summer to make sure that learning continued. And it's not perfect. We all know that being in person is the best case scenario. However, the brutal facts are that we have to make sure that remote learning is quality. And what NSSI was able to do, and what we were able to do at Digital Pioneers Academy, is really focus on reading and math and making sure those connections happen. And so for teachers, for principals, leaders out there, really prioritizing math and ELA during this incredibly tough time has to be a priority. And so reading strategies, problem-solving strategies, That's what NSSI has provided for the students and families across the country. And it's what Digital Pioneers Academy focused on when we were focused on remote learning.
Mashea, real quickly, we're running up against the tyranny of the clock here, though. But if I'm a parent at home and I'm worried about all this and I think I need to be doing more, what's your recommendation? Where's a good place to start, and what are some resources that I can use to get my kid until they get back to class?
Sure. I still think teachers are the best resources. And I know that teachers have made themselves available. So the first place is definitely going to your teachers because they have the resources. I'd also say you should look at NSSI. They have an amazing program with also additional intervention programs that scholars can log in online to do summer learning. But I think principals and schools are going to be the best resource. You can also reach out to us at Digital Pioneers Academy, and we will happily connect you with the resources that we have for our middle school scholars.
It is a wonderful thing that you are talking about here, a very important thing, too, it occurs to me. Mashea Ashton, thanks so much for spending time with us this afternoon, and here's hoping that the next time we talk, there'll be some concrete solutions in place so that we don't have to sound the warning bell about this. We'll be doing something about it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dave. Have a good day.
Do the same.